And here, for demonstration purposes, is the old aftermarket tail light and the new aftermarket tail light, so you can see the difference between the two. Hey there, folks. How you doing today? Welcome back to the channel. Please bear with the background racket that you're going to hear throughout this production. We're on location where life happens. We're on a farm, and sometimes there's stuff going on out there that can be heard while we're trying to do this. We're not going to let it stand in the way of the fun that we have in store for you. This blue truck that I'm sitting behind is a 1995 Dodge pickup. The silver truck next to it is a 2001 Dodge pickup. That is important because this body style of truck started in 1994, so this is a second year pickup. And it's the same body style as that one, which ended in 2001. So this is a second year and a last year production truck. That is important because if you look right over here, you'll see the old factory tail light along with a brand new replacement LED tail light that are made to fit trucks from 1994 to 2001. The company that makes these tail lights saw a video that I did on headlight replacement on the blue truck. I made that video 3 or 4 years ago. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you still have that truck?" I said, "Of course I do. It still runs." So they said, "We want to send you a set of tail lights so you can check them out. Tell us what you think about them." So here we are. With that being said, you'll notice I have one of the new aftermarket tail lights mounted to the truck, and I have one of the factory tail lights remaining on the truck. I did that for demonstration purposes so you could see the difference between the two. We will cut in a couple of clips of them operating in various light further on in this video. So that being said, the taillights sell on Amazon for about $200. I think there's a coupon on there right now, but they are rather expensive. They are marketed as being a plug-and-play design, meaning that you take the bulb out of the existing socket, plug the light into it, and voila, you have a new modern LED replacement for your old incandescent or xenon bulbs, whatever they are, halogen. So I said, okay, let's try them out. Well, it was almost that easy. I'll cut in a little clip here of showing what the actual wiring looks like. All right, I'm now going to show you step by step how to remove your old taillight and install the new one. For starters, you got to remove the screws that hold the taillight in place. They are Torx head. That's the Torx head bit they take. I think it's a T20. It's a T20 Torx bit. Don't lose those screws. Once they're removed, grab your taillight, give it a firm wiggle, and you can pull these two retaining pins out of the clips in the back of the housing. Then give your bulb housings a twist to remove them from the old taillight assembly. There we go. Once you have your old taillight out, get it out of the way. Here, the 3-wire one is your old taillight bulb. You'll notice here that the bulb base matches the connector for the brake lights and running lights on the new taillights. However, as you'll notice here, I've cut the connector free on the bottom one because this is the connector that comes on the aftermarket taillight. And this is what it's supposed to connect into, and we previously tried it and it just does not work. So rather than attempting to find a new connector for the taillight that matches this, we decided just to splice it and direct wire it. If that's not something you're comfortable doing, leave it to a professional. So now we're going to go ahead and cut loose and remove the old factory reverse light connection. You're going to need something like this pair of wire cutters to make that happen, as well as a soldering iron, ideally, although you could just connect them together. The wires coming out of the truck are black and purple. Once we get them stripped back about 1/2 inch, as such, we'll get a piece of heat shrink tubing. And slip down over each one of them. We will then direct wire them to the new taillight assembly. Now, before you do this, make sure you have the right one. I'm going to go black to black and red to purple. Give them a good twist together prior to soldering them. Now, before I solder those up, I'm going to turn on the tail light and make sure that they work. You should see the reverse light light up here in just a second. All right, so now that we know that our wiring is good and correct, we're going to go ahead and solder those two wires together. There we go. Now, once you have your wire soldered together, give it a minute to cool down before you pull your heat shrink over it, or else the heat shrink is liable to shrink before it gets into the proper location. Once it gets into the location, either use a cigarette lighter or your soldering iron to shrink it down to provide a watertight seal around your new soldered joint. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and we'll plug in the upper connector. And we'll test the function, which shows the big outline of the running light, which are your tail lights, and then the inner one there acts as your brake and turn signal. You'll notice there the reverse light is also working. Now, in order to secure the tail lights into place, it comes with these supplied clips. You want to make sure that you slide them over these tabs on the back of the tail light, and that's what your screws run into when you put the unit into place. As you could see there, while yes, the brake light and running light were plug and play, in order to hook up the reverse lights, which you kind of need, I had to make a minor modification. Now, you could cut the tail light, find a new replacement plug that would fit directly into your existing socket on your vehicle if you didn't want to modify your vehicle. If you're confident making that minor modification, I say go for it. If you're not, I suggest you take it to something like a stereo shop and have them install them for you. But that is something to consider. But now that we've decided that, what do we think about the way they work? How do they compare to each other? Well, here is a shade demonstration of the difference between the new LED tail lights and the existing factory lights. Here is a low light. I pulled it into the barn and shut the door. Here you have the new turn signal by itself, followed by the old turn signal by itself. Turning on the hazard lights allows you to see both of them flashing together. The brake lights with reverse lights. The running lights, you'll notice the little pattern that the new one goes through before it comes to a constant on. Now we show them with the turn signal on the new light, the turn signal on the old light, the hazard lights with the running lights, and the brake lights with reverse lights with the running lights in operation. And here we compared them to each other at night. So you can see that while the new tail light does look new, it does look cleaned up, it is a more modern design. It doesn't put out any more light than the old factory lights. So don't swap them out thinking that you're going to get brighter, more effective tail lights, because you're not. However, if you have a nice looking truck, if you have a truck that you want to upgrade and make it look a little better, they do seem to work pretty well, albeit they don't come with any instructions and you have to kind of figure it out on the fly what you're going to do concerning that plug for the reverse light. I just want you to know that that is a thing, but I wouldn't let it stop me from buying them necessarily. So am I going to leave this new set of taillights on my old blue truck? Probably not. But the kid that owns this truck did ask me to put them on his, so we're going to do that right now. And here you can see the completed installation. I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights on and run them through the paces so you can see what happens. All right, and for the sake of time, I spared you all the installation of the other tail light. If you didn't have to cut the plug and splice the wires, which I took the extra time to solder these, you don't necessarily have to, but considering the moisture content in the air here in East Texas, I decided to go ahead and do that. But considering the time it took to change them out, making the necessary wiring modifications, you're looking at about a half an hour to 45 minutes per set. Would I jump out and spend $200 on these taillights? Well, that would depend. If I needed a set of taillights, let's say I broke one of these and I had to replace it, a replacement factory one is going to cost me probably about $100. I could find one cheaper if I bought a Chinese knockoff, but if I was looking for a set of taillights, then yes, I would consider these. I just don't want you to come away from this thinking they're going to be an end-all, be-all for brightness and being better than what was there before, because in the long and the short of it, they're not really any brighter. I wish they were a little bit brighter. That's my biggest complaint about them. Also, you asked for my opinion. You need to do something about the plug on the backup light. That is a major headache. If you have somebody buying something thinking it's plug and play and then it won't plug and play into their existing socket, that could be a major issue and probably cause a return of product and a bad review on Amazon. Again, it only took a few minutes to fix it, but some folks aren't ready to do that kind of modification to their vehicle. So keep that in mind. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope the company that sent these to me gets something out of this. So take it for what it's worth. Do they work? Yes. Do they work well? Yes. Are they any better than what was there before? I'll let you decide. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.